had a lot of awesome people work. It's a collaborative effort, the movie, you know, and especially this one, it felt like that from the start, you know.
But I'm sure, Vincent, you know from experience, I mean, working on a movie, and you can be given a great script and you can give the best performance, and once you walk away from that, you're just waiting to see what the end result is going to be, what the director's going to do, what the editor's going to do.
Sure.
And sometimes you can be very pleasantly surprised, and I'm sure that there are times when you can be quite disappointed with the end product.
Yes, if you don't have... look, not all actors have a measure of control. In fact, I prefer not to say watch daily rushes, and some actors do. They love to sit and watch what they're doing. Obviously, they're honing their skill. I'm a much more organic. I kind of give as much and trust that the director and the editors will find. Obviously, you know, the first and basic principle is that you know. The audience can see what it is you're trying to do with portraying your emotions. You know, the window to your soul is usually through your eyes or your face or whatever. You know, and all those things you hone over years and years and years. And I prefer to make my contribution and allow a director and an editor to mould all those together. Although, you know, I'm sure in other circumstances I'd prefer to have much more control. I'd love to have, but those are little skills that you add to your toolbox. I'd love to be able to say, okay, I'm really not happy with that. And in the digital age, you know, if we were shooting this on film, we couldn't go 2, 3, 4 takes. You know, that's money gone down the drain if you haven't got the first take somewhere near where you wanted to be. Digital makes all of that process.
Changes it, doesn't it?
Yes. I mean, and you have to just stay with it.
So for you, I mean, you had a huge amount of input because of this character, because of a part of the script writing. So I'm going to ask both of you. I mean, I asked you, when you saw the end result, you know, what was your feeling? Did you get this feeling of the years, what we put into it, the places I had to visit to get to that point, what we wanted the outcome to be? So I'm going to ask you first, Vincent. When you first saw it,
I saw it on a small viewing screen in a hotel in Soho when Ronnie and Craig came to visit to show me. And you know, by that time, they'd locked down the final cut. So what I saw was pretty near what you'll see on the big screen. The sound wasn't great in this particular studio, but they were travelling and showing. I was overwhelmed.
Were you?
I was there with my family, you know. Some of them were in tears at the end of it and very moved by it. And all of those things, they're gratifying. You know, my family are my most harshest critics. They may not say it, but you know, you can get a sense of whether something's working, whether something's not. So I was very gratified at what I saw. When I saw it on a big screen in Durban for the first time,
wow!
You know, it's always. I mean, if you can retain that amount of being astonished by what other people have been doing, certainly what the producers, the directors, and the editors, and the addition of the music, all those things coming together in kind of a perfect little gem.
Indeed. And for you, Riaad?
For me, it wasn't also that sudden, because I was also involved in the edit.
Okay.
So like from the first edit, we could see, okay, this is these moments of magic, but it's not there, you know.
Really?
Like, but we could say it's almost like Robbie Wessels said, and not Robbie Wessels, Robbie Thorpe, the one of the other producers, filmmaker he likes to be called. He said, no, it's like when you chipping away at a sculpture. It's just chipping away, and eventually you've got the David. You know, it's beautiful, but eventually it's just a block of marble. You know, and that's what it is. You know, it's about chipping away and perfecting. And that's the edit. The edit is the whole process of making the movie. You know, but when obviously we saw the final product, you know, it was definitely gratifying. It's always when they added on different elements to it, and it just made that bit more polished. You know, it's really nice.
You do have to have something to chip away at. Do you know what I mean? You can't have nothing. If the fabric of that fashioning, that sculptor's work, if the material,
there we go again.
if the stuff of the movie is not there to be able to mold and create that statue, then you're doing a cut and paste job.
Yeah.
Now, Riaad, I mean, people are going to, when they watch this movie, they are going to draw parallels. They're going to say, this is kind of what his life is. Okay, maybe not in a material shop, maybe being the doctor, or whatever it is. The point is that a lot of people after the movie are going to see you in a different light. Are you aware of that? And what are your thoughts on that?
Well, look, it's not exactly like that. There's certain things, like, for example, I'm sure you have many religious listeners who can identify with this. The fact, like, for example, performing in a place where, like, alcohol is freely served and, night spots and stuff like that, that was what I experienced as a young comedian when I was at university and I was exposed to stand-up. And I just love stand-up. I found that I love stand-up. I only found it after 4th-year medicine. But then I would be in an environment which I didn't feel completely comfortable in. So what I would usually do, how I approach it, I would just go for the show. And when the show is over, I would leave, because I just felt uncomfortable in the environment, and it's about that now. How do you negotiate, right, yearning to do something different and exploring something else, but still being a major part of your community, and difficult decisions have to be made. For example, when I do my own one-man shows these days, I try and ensure that no alcohol is served at my shows. So what I actually have to do, because the theatres say, no, that's where we make our money, I actually have to buy at the bar, right, so that I don't provide that option, so no alcohol served at the venue.
Really?
And just to
Wow.
make the conservatives in my community feel comfortable to come to something that they wouldn't usually see. And then also, I mean, if people want to partake, then they will find it's not very far that you have to look to do that. So generally, in that way, I still think I would like to do what I do, but within the confines of your cultural religion, and that's what I continuously try to do. And we touch on elements of that within the movie, but it's not said outrightly. But I mean, that's sort of the essence of it. This is sort of, it was just I became aware of it when I was young, because when you're young you don't just go out and stuff like that. But then what would happen is that I did a show once. I was with the Cape Comedy Collective, and I was on a bill, a stand-up comedy bill, and it was sponsored by an alcohol company, and my grandfather got hold of the pamphlet, and he was actually my inspiration for comedy, because he always used to have a joke. He was just one of these uncles, one of the uncles who was always the life of the party telling jokes. Not specifically me, I'm never like that, but that was my grandfather. So, I mean, that's what I saw growing up. But he sat me down and he said, I mind you doing the comedy, but I mean, you must be very careful about the way in which you do it. And this is not how we would like you to, continue. So you have to be aware and sensitive. And some of the stuff is touched on in the movie.
But I find that very interesting. I didn't know that at all. I certainly wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, so these are all the things that happen behind the scenes.
Well,
I love that the Cape Comedy Collective,
Yes.
CCC. In my day, it was Cape City Council.
That's it.
And they're a bunch of comedians, I'm telling you.
But that's why I think going to see this movie, as I said right at the beginning, it may be a story of a Muslim family, but so many of our Jewish audience listening right now will so relate to that, and many other people, many other families, whether it's a religion that's is prescriptive as to the way you do things and the way you live your life, the culture, and that is why parents, kids, they can all relate to the story, because it is the relationship between the father and the son and the mother, and how that conflict.
Yes.
Every family has that.
Yes, and how is interesting, because also you can see that everybody's got flaws. Like, we're all not perfect.
Right.
We're just trying to negotiate ways how we have slightly different paths, but how do we maintain on one path together as a family? And it's, you see that, you know, like at one point you think this father's being ridiculous, but then you think, oh, why can the son do that? And the father makes some very, very good points. You know, there's this one scene where he's talking makes perfect sense to me, you know, where you're giving me advice in the shop, Vincent. That scene, you know. And then it goes on to another where the father's being, no, you're going overboard now, Dad. Right? And then how could the son do that to the father? He betrayed his father. You know, so you're constantly fluctuating. You know, and that's life. I mean, everybody is.
Yeah, that's the essence of drama, is the conflicts of life. And I think you can't avoid those. You know, I mean, I think it was Rowan Atkinson who said, you know, comedy, you can't tie it down. You can't censor it, because look, it's probably going to offend people. Some comedy is going to offend people. There's nothing you can do about that. And some comedy is able to bind people together because the humour is the same. It comes out of the same source, and possibly in this context, the source is love of family.
Love.
You know, the conflicts within a family. They're all very universal themes.
Yes.
Well, if you're listening now, and you know, we hope that we have whet your appetite, because this is a movie that, and I hate to say it because you can't say it's such a good South African movie, because it diminishes just how special this movie is. You can't put it on any level. You go and watch this movie, and the story is so beautiful. And as I said, such superb acting. Riaad, really. Riaad the comedian only came up when I saw you in stand-up pieces in the movie. Otherwise, this deeply sensitive, humble, wonderful person came through. This character was so clear. And Vincent, your powerful portrayal of this father with these deep, dark places that you sometimes took us to during the movie. It was just an extraordinary journey, and one that everybody enjoyed. So I wish you so much luck with this movie, and may it grow wings, and may it fly internationally. Not that it needs to, because it has the recognition, but so that you get the recognition and the success that you deserve. So thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
It was really wonderful. So it's opening next week in cinemas
17th.
around South Africa, the 17th, and Tat Wolfen will be reviewing it next Thursday. He's already raved about it, and we'll hear exactly what he has to say. And of course, it's all at New Metro all over South Africa. So Riaad, Sterkiniko and New Metro.
Yeah.
So Riaad, thank you very much, and Vincent, thank you, and please come back and do more work here. We want you in South Africa doing more wonderful work.
Well,
you are too precious to just let you disappear into the UK for however many years.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.